Welcome to Get Your Bell Rug, a pro wrestling podcast. I am your host, KG, and with me tonight, I have two absolute legends. First, WCW, WWE veteran, Wrestling Hall of Famer, and the man who hits harder than your Monday morning alarm clock. I'm talking about the Cooker Bob Cook, and alongside him, WCW veteran, author of Looking Up at the Lights, and one of the sharpest minds in the business, Robbie Ido. How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm good. How you doing, KG?
You see this? This is the culprit. And I'm letting her sit with me for the broadcast.
Guys, before we get into it, I want to talk about ECUSA, that we are now part of that. And don't forget to check us out on that app, guys. And if you don't know how to get the app, you turn on your Roku device, go to the search menu, type in ECUSA, select it, click add channel, and you are in, and then just scroll to find Get Your Bell Rug, a pro wrestling podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to us. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. You can catch the replay tomorrow on ECUSA, or if you guys want to watch us live, again, join us on YouTube, where you can join the conversation by posting a comment. I try to always get to the comments. Tonight, we are talking about the Go Home Monday Night Raw, of course, Saturday Survivor Series. And gentlemen, I will be honest with you. I think that last week's Raw should have been their Go Home Raw, but nonetheless, this was still a good Raw. I enjoyed Raw last night. I just don't think it was as good as last week's. Hence why I believe that last week would have been a better Go Home show. Robbie, start with you. Overall, what did you think about it? And do you agree that Raw last week would have probably been a better Go Home show, even though Raw last night, at least in my opinion, was very good?
Yeah, I agree. Last week was the Go Home show. Here was my problem with this show. It started slow. You know, we went 30 minutes with just three people. And, you know, we screwed around for 30 more minutes again with just Cody, you know, Roman and Punk in the ring. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just getting tired of the promos, the 30-minute, 45-minute promos to start shows with.
Right.
See them, you know, go 10 minutes and bring out a match and do something, you know, just change it up a little bit. But, I mean, the show was okay. It picked up. It started out slow. You kind of, when they start, you know, Roman started out and everything, you went, here we go again. And it, you know, it started slow. The show picked up, but these 30-minute, 45-minute promo stuff in the beginning, it's got to go. You know, that's my opinion.
Right. Bob, do you agree that this was a good show, but last week absolutely should have been their Go Home show? What's your thoughts on the overall show?
Well, it was all right, but I don't believe in what should have been, because what is what is.
Yep.
And when you write this stuff down on paper, you're seeing it one way and it comes off another. So last week's show came out the way it did, and we all went, holy crap. And I'm sure in the eyes of the writers and Triple H or whoever puts this stuff together, thought last night's show, they go, oh, this is going to be good. Some of it fell flat, some of it didn't. You really can't predict these things other than the fact that we will complain about something. Predictions.
Well, it's our job now.
That's true.
You know, we thought that last week was John Cena's last time on Raw, but to our surprise, he showed up at the very end of Raw, getting his payback on Brock Lesnar, giving him that clothesline. We seen Brock Lesnar went down, but of course you couldn't see John Cena because you couldn't see him. So, we'll talk about that. The opening segment, as Robbie just said, Roman Reigns kicked off the show. He was joined by Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. The three kind of struggled to unite for WarGames. Roman told Cody, you know, you're just joining this. This is my family. I've been dealing with this for a few years now. That segment ended with Roman saying, I'm coming after your title. CM Punk was like, acknowledge us. Which one? Roman's like, you two figure it out. Bob, this was a long segment, but this is kind of what I've come to expect with WWE with their opening segments. Was this too long for you, or was it so enjoyable that it just kind of flew by?
No, it definitely was too long. And to me, it's just a bunch of talking heads to serve the same purpose you're going to serve without the talking heads, which is the match coming Saturday. You already know it's going to be there. You don't got to, the show's dissension among them. Okay, we get it. None of them are friends. I don't know. It's just ponderous, very, very ponderous. Where did I hear that before?
Yeah, I don't think WarGames is going to end with them just being friends. We'll talk about that, though. Robbie, I know you said it was too long. Was there any part of the segment that you enjoyed?
Yeah, the end of it when Rollins had figured it out. At least that was kind of funny, I mean, I thought that was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the next segment was the first match, the last time. It's now a tournament quarterfinal. It was Gunther against Carmelo Hayes. Gunther beat Carmelo Hayes, but man, in my opinion, this was one hell of a match. The spot that to me really showed how good these two were was actually a spot that was kind of botched. Carmelo Hayes was going to go DDT Gunther on the edge of the apron. He kind of missed it, but they both were able to recover during the fall where it looked like he still took that bump. And it made sense why they were still kind of laying out on the mat outside of the ring, trying to recover from that. Robbie, what did you think about this match?
Good match. It was a good match. But I saw, yes, that spot, and they covered it. So, they covered it up and made it look like, okay, it was part of it. So, but the match was, good. Again, predictable. You knew Gunther was going to win. So that's the problem.
Right. There's a couple of times during the match that I'm like, oh, will they give this Carmelo? Maybe they swerved this. It's not going to be Gunther. I think Carmelo is a star that's just absolutely waiting to happen. I think he has the potential to be pretty good in this, or pretty big in this business. Bob, what you think about this match, man?
I thought it was a very good match, and I specifically liked the fact that at the beginning, Carmelo took his necklace off. I hate when people wear jewelry in the ring. Did the great Muhammad Ali wear jewelry? Did the legendary Harley Racing Terry Funk wear jewelry? Yes, Terry wore earrings outside the ring, but not in the ring. Do they wear them in the UFC? No, because they're serious fighters. You can't be taken serious if you got earrings and necklaces hanging off you. Kudos to Carmelo for taking it off. There's a lot of guys just wrestle with it on.
Yeah, I would argue that this was one of the best matches of the night, actually. I am really starting to like Carmelo Hayes. Now, I know you don't like him, Cooker. I've always been a fan.
I'm starting to like him. He's, I never really pay a lot of attention. Oh, you said Carmelo. I thought.
No, I said I'm a fan of Carmelo's. I'm also a fan of Gunther.
Oh, well.
Well, no, you're not a fan of. There's just something boring about him, man. Robbie, is Gunther boring?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
That confuses my brain because Gunther reminds me of wrestling from back in the days. He's a technical wrestler, kind of the stuff
back in the days when it was boring.
No, that's my point. That's why I don't find it boring.
I mean, I'm just not a fan of Gunther. Never have been. Couldn't tell you why. Just not a fan. But as far, the kid's talented, and I mean, you could see he's very talented. Carmelo, it wasn't, a big fan. But I like him. The kid's talented. He's very talented. Right. So, yes, I think a little bit more if they push him more. He should be a big star in WWE. Up on the roster there where he was like in NXT.
Right. Next, we go to one of Bob's favorite wrestlers, Dominik Mysterio. Dominik vowed to end John Cena's retirement tour at Survivor Series, and then the part of Raw that I just laughed my ass off, and it's been done before. It still kind of tickles me, though. Cena's music hit. And for a second, I was even like, whoa, were they surprised? Is Cena actually here tonight? But of course he wasn't. Here walks out a little guy dressed as Cena.
Say it, a midget. Say it. Say the word midget.
Midget.
I dare you. He did it. Holy crap, he did it.
What made me laugh was they had a midget playing Stu the cameraman. That was awesome. This individual got into the ring, tried to hit a John Cena-ish promo. I guess Dominik kind of whispered in his ear to stick with the plan. I guess he didn't, and that's why Dominik beat this poor guy up. Now, this is the part that confused me. It was after Dominik was done beating this guy's ass that Rey Mysterio showed up. Why wouldn't Rey Mysterio show up to save this kid from this little guy from getting his ass kicked? That was a little goofy to me. But Rey showed up, and then that set us up for the next match. Before we talk about it, Bob, what'd you think about this segment, man? Do you kind of see what I'm talking about? How Rey didn't come out until after Dom?
Well, I think Rey was mad that the little guy was going to take his spot as the smallest guy on the roster, and he said, "Hey, let him take an ass whipping, then I'll save him." But a mask got him. He got Rey Mysterio Jr.
My wife was watching this with me. And when the Judgment Day came out for the match, Rey Mysterio against JD McDonough, my wife's like, JD McDonough kind of looked like he's built like a midget, and I'm like, kind of. He barely meets that height requirement, but I'd be considered that midget.
I bet there's rides at the amusement park he can't get on.
Well,
what was that? The Raw after Survivor Series screw job that they did that with Shawn Michaels and Brett as a midget.
Yep.
Brett was the midget.
Yep.
Or the little person or the dwarf. What do they like to be called? I don't know. Micro championship guys. I know.
They call themselves. I know on Micro professional wrestling. I've watched the show on HBO, the documentary they had. They call themselves midgets. So.
Where did all this stigma come from? Years ago, that was a draw, right? They had the right. Midgets on this to promote it. Midget wrestling.
This is what's silly. So Micro Pro Wrestling actually went out to Colorado. I think this happened last year. And this group of women got together. They have some type of organization. I don't know the name of it, nor do I give a fuck about the name of it. But they actually wrote a letter trying to have Micro Wrestling banned because it was exploiting the midgets. And that led me to go do a little bit of research. These guys that wrestle for Micro Wrestling, they make between $70,000 to $100,000+ a year, right? And I'm thinking to myself, why are you trying to fuck with these men? Because they're doing something that they never thought they could do because of their height. They're actually wrestling. They're making damn good money. Where else can they go make this type of money and do what they love? But people just want to, we got to save the world, to stick their nose in and start problems when there's no issues there to begin with. It drives me fucking insane.
How about talk to each individual and say, do you feel exploited? Right. No, I don't. I'm having a time of my life. Okay, shut up, bitch. That's right. I said bitch.
Exactly.
They got one of those Micro Championship Wrestling places right next to Hulk Hogan's wrestling shop in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Well, they came to Mankato, Minnesota. My wife and I went, and the place was sold out. It was literally standing room only. I mean, they're a big draw. So leave them be. Again, they're doing what they love to do. They're living a dream, and they get to make money, and they get to travel. Leave them alone. Robbie, what did you think about this segment with Dominik Mysterio?
I thought it was funny. I got a kick out of it. And believe it or not, that Micro Wrestling, I don't know if it's came to Venice or it's come into Venice. So it was supposed to come. So it's actually come. It's either coming or it came and didn't realize it was here and gone.
Right.
But I liked the segment. I thought it was funny. Again, I was thinking the same thoughts as you. I don't know if I'm hanging around you too long now, and now I'm starting to think like you. But the same thing, well, Dom beat the hell out of him, And then all of a sudden Ray comes out after he got his ass beat. I'm like, wouldn't you have came out a little sooner, Ray?
Right.
So maybe I'm hanging out with you too long.
Yep. By the way, the midget that they used for this part actually wrestles for Micro. He's actually one of the men that is on that that documentary. I think that's what I think is considered a documentary. It's I think 6 parts of 6 episodes in it, something like that. But he's one of the individuals, and he's actually one of their top guys for micro wrestling. So it was good to see him on TV on WWE again. Guess what? Can you imagine how much fun he had doing it? Can you imagine the thrill, how excited he is to be on TV for WWE? But yet you have dumbass people who are trying to stop stuff like that because it's exploiting them. Shut the fuck up.
Now, granted, he was playing off of Dominik's, not the same as Shawn Michaels, but I could understand him being excited.
Right. Next goes the singles match with Rey Mysterio against JD McDonough. This was a really good match. Despite Finn Balor's interference, Rey finished with a 619 and a West Coast pop, beating JD McDonough. Robbie, did you like this match? Was this match boring? Was it just okay?
It was a good match. So,
right.
I mean, it served its purpose. It was good, and it was, did the interference and, where JD screwed up, hit Finn, and, so Ray goes over. But it was a good match. I mean, I both think they held their own,
Right. A little observation. Man, Ray looks like he's dropped some weight. He's not as jacked as he was. I'm not sure. He's kind of not working out as much as he used to be. He's coming towards the end of his career. Just a little observation, though, that he looks a little smaller than what he has been over the past few years.
But did you notice, though, like in the promo start of the show, Roman looks smaller.
Yeah, he does. He does.
He doesn't look thick through the chest, the back area.
Right.
He looks thin through there.
Yep. Bob, your thoughts on this Rey Mysterio JD McDonough match? Here's a question. We just seen JD McDonough against who's that against? We thought it was a phenomenal match. I think it might have been on SmackDown. We just talked about it.
Was it that Russian guy, German guy?
No, it was JD McDonough against the U.S. champ on SmackDown. Dragunov?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Wasn't he? Did he play a Russian, German?
Yeah. So my question is, do you think this match against Mysterio was as good as that match against Dragunov? Because I know we all just praised JD McDonough's work in that match last week on Friday night, I believe it was.
No, I don't think it was as good because he's working with Ray's limitations at his age and whatever. Right. Not a knock on Ray. I mean, the guy's amazing, but and the older you get, you tend to want to lose weight because your back's hurting and your knees hurt, and a little less weight can take a little strain off of that. And who knows? Maybe he doesn't like the catering in that arena and just didn't eat. We've been there before with WCW back in it. Never eat catering at Center Stage in Atlanta. Garbage.
With catering, how does that work? I mean, do they have like all kinds of shit on the table? Is it one basic, like how good is the catering? You
stand in line like, or at least in WCW, you stood in line like a
cafeteria.
Yeah. And it's just like hot plates or whatever. And you usually like chicken breast, vegetables, and other stuff.
Okay.
Depending on where you work, because they had different caterers in different cities, states.
That was my next question. Does WCW have their own catering back then, or did they just order from local vendors?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just local. Because each place had, some were better than others. Like I said, Center Stage was always horrible, so we always ate somewhere else after the show or before.
Right.
But most of it was decent. The best catering I ever had was when I was on that Clash of Champions, and we got steak. You really got steak.
So what type of foods is normally served on with catering? Is it just figure foods?
No, it's got a lot of healthy food, chicken breasts and vegetables and salads and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we go to the women's War Games promo, and I have to be honest, this was probably my least favorite part of the show. Just because I think the promo it was terrible. I agree. Bob and I was talking at this point last night, and I agree with them. The AJ Lee promo, whoever wrote that, it was terrible. This whole thing about, telling Becky that, about her, all she has is big barking. She's just, all she does is bark. Well, AJ said, I actually bite. Just the whole thing was just extremely cheesy. And I just didn't think it didn't do anything for the women's War Games match to want to draw me in. We've seen AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Io Sky faced off with Becky Lynch, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, Lash Legend. And as I just said, AJ said she doesn't bark, she bites. And a wild brawl broke out. Io hit her moonsault, and Becky was screaming at her team as chaos set in. Also, what Becky did was she was kind of saying, basically, we've had our problems, but I'm willing to put it to the side. I'm the big cheese for this. I'm the head. This is my team. Bob, what do you think about this promo? I mean, this segment, man.
Yeah, I mean, just a bunch of talking.
Right.
And to say that about Becky Lynch, I know she's just saying what she's told, but Becky Lynch has dominated the women's division for years. She's got more bark than bite. Come on, who writes this crap?
Yep. Robbie, did this make you set your time on your TV to make sure that if you're not home, that WarGames, that Survivor Series is being taped because you're so damn excited just because of this segment?
No. Unfortunately, no. And whoever's writing this stuff for Becky, they need to be slapped because it's just getting old and it's getting boring. I mean, if she's coming up with this stuff herself, I mean, you just kind of want to go, please just go away for a while or something. It's just the same. I mean, they need, if this is what creative's doing for her, she needs to get in their face and say, hey guys, we need to do something different. Because it's just, it's just not good. It's not good.
One thing that annoys me about the whole Becky Lynch character is, and I'm sure it's not her fault, this is WWE, what they assigned her, but the whole man thing, the man Becky Lynch, that just is aggravating me from day one, because it's, what exactly is that supposed to mean? The man. It's you're a woman. I don't get it. I think I get what they're trying to establish, but it's dumb to me. It makes no sense. And I think it stops me from investing in a way I should be investing, even with her as a heel. Bob, this whole man bit that she's been doing for God knows how long, do you think it's time for it to be done with and for them to go with something new?
Probably, but in the beginning, it was a hot merchandise seller, and it pissed off Ric Flair because it's like, guy's been in business for 100 years now, so he's mad about something they're doing with the man. Like, come on. Just because you call yourself the man, no one else can call it. I mean,
No, but at the same time, Bob, I mean, Jesus. I get it. I really do, because as you said, this has been his gimmick for how long? So I kind of understand why he's a little upset about that. You wouldn't be upset if someone started calling themselves the Cooker after you've been using it?
Not if I was still making money off it. If I actually made money off it, which I don't. But
but that's a problem. Flair wasn't even making money off of that.
Well, he's selling T-shirts on his website and stuff that said the man and different things on it.
Yeah,
probably still does.
Robbie, where are you at with all of this, with the whole man gimmick, and also, do you think that just needs to be done with?
Doesn't bother me. I mean, I get where they're going or coming from with it.
Right.
So I get that. That doesn't bother me. It's just it just seems with Becky nowadays, it's the week in, week out. I'm the best. Sports not. I don't only say it. Sports Illustrated, which was great because they didn't say that, but the promo just, and I mean, I get it. She's a heel and everything. It just, you know, and like, okay, this is my team. This is what I put together, and I made you a star. I made you a star. I'll make you a star. I don't know, but it just seemed, even though it was different, it seemed the same.
Right. Well, you know what really bothered me about it was it's almost like we just seen the same promo being done, except with the men, right? Because you had Roman Reigns basically saying, "This is my, my team. I've been here. My fight." That's kind of what just happened there too. I was just bitching about that with AEW. How too many of them. It's the same. It's the same thing here.
The only difference with the men and the women, though, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But you had Cody saying my team and Punk saying my team, where nobody, I mean, what they did was the women just looked at her.
Right.
He was talking like, it's my team. They all were giving her looks, which makes you wonder if this thing kind of goes south for that team. Do whoever's, let's say you got Nia and Lash and Becky, and you still got all 5 of the other. Do they turn on Becky at some point? Makes you wonder, just the way they looked at her. I mean, it's just a thought that you throw out there.
Well, I tell you, the chaos broke out, but it was the team of AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Io Sky that was left standing tall, which means to me, if we're going according to Wrestling 101 formula, that they're going to lose the WarGames, and it's going to be Becky Lynch and her group standing tall, which I don't care either way. And even though I didn't like this promo, I still stand by what I've been saying, that I think it's going to be the women's WarGames match that's going to be the better of the two, and I think it's going to steal the show. So,
Totally agree.
Yep. Next, we go to the last time it's now tournament quarterfinal again. Solo Sikoa defeated Penta by referee stoppage. Apparently, Penta he tried to hit a huge hurricane off the barricade, and he appeared to hurt his shoulder. Now, I'll be honest, I had got up to go grab some water, thinking the match was just starting. I had plenty of time to see it. By the time to get back, everything had happened. And then I talked to Bob. I went, did I miss something? Did he hurt himself? Bob, you think that he legit probably dislocated his shoulder, correct?
That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah. What about you, Robbie? Did it?
Yeah, it looked like it to me. It makes you wonder if they not stopped the match, was Solo going over, or was Penta going over?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
We won't know the outcome, and nobody's gonna tell you any different.
Right, and it really doesn't matter because the big outcome is going to be Gunther. I mean,
right. So, well, I mean, and when seeing the matchup, though, the smart thing, if this is would have been, is have Solo in the other division, and then put him against Gunther as your your main event on that. Truthfully, what I'd like to see Solo go over Gunther.
No.
I like Solo. I like him.
No.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to happen, but
having a Gunther and Solo match, that's just gonna be boring in my opinion.
I think it's gonna. I think we're gonna see some good shots out of this. Maybe.
Bob, is there anyone that's left for this tournament that you would prefer to be John Cena's last opponent other than Gunther?
I don't even remember who's in it at this point. Other than Solo and Gunther, and I don't care about either one of them. Could you imagine? I mean, it's bad enough we know it's probably going to be Gunther, which will be a decent match with Cena, but as his last match, Solo and Cena's the last match. Oh my God!
Right.
Please.
But LA Knight on the other side.
Well, we know LA Knight, and guys, this is a spoiler for those who are watching this, so you might want to either mute it.
Well, I didn't hear what.
Look, if you guys don't want me to say it, I won't say it. But I was going to tell you who LA Knight's opponent is going to be on Friday, just because I have friends that were there, so they seen the taping of it. So And it's all over internet anyway.
Yeah,
But
but I
won't
don't look.
mention
I don't
it.
look for. You can do it. I don't look for results.
So it's going to be The Miz.
The Miz.
It's going to be The Miz.
Holy crap!
They
Well, there's a
want
fast
Miz.
forward button.
Yep. Against LA Knight. With LA Knight going over. So LA Knight's going to be in one of the final, to find out who's going to be against Gunther.
See, I wouldn't mind seeing LA Knight go against Cena.
Cena,
Yeah, why not?
right? I would prefer that. As much as I like Gunther, I would like LA Knight versus Cena for the last match, because John Cena and Gunther. Oh man, I don't know if that match would be exciting or not. Possibility of being a snoozer, because again, I like Gunther, but Gunther's often in matches with opponents that are, I guess, have a lot of energy. They do a lot more moves than Gunther does, so it elevates that match. Gunther against John Cena. I mean, is this a match that any one of you two really want to see?
Not at all.
No. Truthfully, no.
I think LA Knight against Cena will be good, but the question is, who's going to win, no matter who it is? Is John going to lose his last match? Is there going to be hugging in the ring afterwards? We must know the answers on December 13th, live from I don't know where.
Well, traditionally, whoever's retiring is the one that loses the match, but this isn't a traditional thing. This is John Cena. So I don't know. I really don't know if he's going to do the traditional route of putting his opponent over, or if he's going to, take the win and retire on winning his last match. I have no idea.
I'm surprised the place ain't sold out yet.
Oh, it's not? Really?
No. It's got like 15,000 tickets sold, and supposedly there's 1,000 plus left, but it's in a 19,000 seat arena, so they could open up more, unless, if there was really demand, they would do that. They always would make the stage smaller if there's actually ticket demand. But I heard the prices for those tickets are outrageous.
I'm sure it is.
And last night was another night with less than 10,000 in a 17, 18,000 seat arena.
Yeah, what's been going around by a lot of people on social media of what they want to see. Speaking of LA Knight, people are asking for there to be a tag team created, LA Knight and Matt Cardona, as Zack Ryder. They want Zack Ryder and LA Knight as a tag team together. I just have no interest in that.
Why?
That exactly. Why?
Why not just let Matt Cardona be Matt Cardona? He's better as Matt Cardona. I mean, I don't know.
Matt Cardona in WWE, I can get behind 100%. He's much more entertaining than Zack Ryder. Not a Zack Ryder fan.
I hate his laugh, though. I hate his laugh.
Yeah, I like Zack Ryder about as much as I like Joe Hendry. Not at all.
Oh, now you mention his name. Look out.
Yeah.
But I watched Matt Cardona in that Brian Myers toy searches and stuff.
Right.
And I can't stand Matt Cardona's laugh. It's annoying.
I don't know if I've ever heard it or paid attention to it.
You don't want to, because you'll be never able to view it again the same.
Next, we have the new Women's Intercontinental Champion, Maxine Dupree. We've seen her approached by Ivy Niles and then Roxanne Perez, both declaring they're coming for a title. Now, let's stop with Ivy Niles for a second. Looks like she's growing her hair back. I didn't recognize her at first because her hair was longer. Different look. Robbie, start with you. Is there a match that you'd like to see better over the other? Would you prefer it to see a Maxine Dupree versus Ivy, or do you prefer Maxine Dupree versus Roxanne Perez? Now, don't get me wrong. At some point, we know it's going to, both of these women are going to face her at some point. But for your booking purposes, fantasy booking of what would be the best between the two, what would it be?
The best thing would be Roxanne, because Roxanne's over more so than Ivy Nile. I thought you were going to go the Raquel Rodriguez route, and I would have said Ivy Nile. I'm not invested in Raquel. I'm just kind of think she's boring.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even mention Raquel. Maybe I should have, because she was there with Roxanne Perez, but it was Roxanne Perez that was basically challenging with Raquel.
Yeah.
So
if you had to pick the two between the two, I just think Perez is better than Ivy Nile as far as a worker.
okay. What about you, Bob?
I don't really have any interest in any of them, but Maxine, I don't mind watching her do anything. Although, like we talked about last night, it's so stupid. She's not even wrestling on the show. She just happens to be walking around backstage with the belt on her shoulder, like, hey, I mean, come on. Why couldn't she just be back there for some reason? And then they have little discussions. She don't even have to have the belt with her. She's a champion, especially if Adam Pearce goes, hey, you're the champion. Congratulations. She got to stand there with a belt on her shoulder. Like she just walks around like that. Hey, I got to go to the bathroom. Why is the belt on your shoulder? I got to go to the bathroom. I mean, it's like Cody Rhodes does the same thing. He just stands there, walks around with the belt all the time. It's like, God, I get it. They're doing what they're told. But whoever's telling them that, stop. Makes no sense.
Yeah, WWE does it for all of their champions. Next is the main event, which is also the men's WarGames advantage match. Drew McIntyre.
We're already at the main event? Wow.
We are, man. Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul against the Usos to earn their team's advantage. A ringside brawl erupted with all WarGames participants in the chaos. Logan Paul rolled up Jimmy Uso for the win. It was an okay match. It was predictable, though. You knew what was going to happen. Bob, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It was good. And they did the old school thing where they're all fighting at the end. Well, stay tuned for Survivor Series. They used to do that all the time on the old shows, because in the old days, they taped the shows. They had an exact 1 hour or 2 hour time period. They had to get everything in. So they weren't allowed to go over if they didn't get stuff done. So they, would always end the shows like that with a brawl. Tune in next week. It's, and it made you want to tune in.
Yep.
Now, did you see the after the show footage of where they called Logan Paul in the ring or so? They called everybody back in the ring, and they all started to go in the ring, but Logan Paul's the only one that went in because his team all stopped just before he went in the ring. He took 2 super kicks. The CM Punk, whatever his move is, he puts him on his shoulder, and then
GTS,
Cody Rhodes' gimmick, and then a spear from Roman, while Logan Paul's team just stood back and kind of laughed. It was like exclusive footage after all on YouTube.
Yeah, I'd seen something on YouTube. I just didn't watch it. I forgot to watch it, actually. Robbie.
Did you know? Well, here's what I noticed. In the beginning of that match, Logan Paul looked very off. Mm-hmm. Like he did not gel with any of it, which I think he was with Jay Uso.
Yeah.
Either he wasn't hearing what was called or he forgot what was called because he was missing on a lot of those moves in the beginning.
Right.
You could see like Jimmy or Jay, whoever he was with, went to do stuff and Logan was missing the spot. So he looked off like that first 5 minutes that they were going. It picked up after that. I mean, it was fine.
Logan's got an incredibly hot wife, so maybe she was on his mind, or certain parts of her were on his mind during the match, and threw him off his game for a few minutes.
When you're trying to get over there, because he definitely looked off. I noticed that, like right in the beginning, he was missing some moves and stuff, and I think the Usos weren't real happy with him in there at a point.
Right.
But they kind of gelled afterwards and everything. I wish I'd have seen the ending of that with him getting, taking everybody's finish.
It's on YouTube. Now, it's little things that is done that I really appreciate. And I appreciate this by the commentary last night. So Drew McIntyre was suspended indefinitely on SmackDown. And here he is on Raw Wrestling. I really like how the commentary made sure to cover that and mentioning how, he's suspended indefinitely on SmackDown, but this is Raw. Little things like that I appreciate them covering. It makes it more real, in my opinion. Post-match brawl, Roman Reigns stormed in, dropping the Superman punch on Breaker Reed and Paul and McIntyre. Then Brock Lesnar's music hits, and this is where we seen the "You Can't See Me" John Cena clothesline him. But you got to give it to Brock Lesnar. Shit. Yeah, you got to give it to Brock Lesnar, because I don't know if he's embarrassed or not, but I know that he got up, he gave his hat to whoever he gave it to, and he was laughing his ass off about it. I really appreciate it. Seems like Brock Lesnar can laugh at himself. He doesn't look like the type of guy that would laugh at himself. But this is the second time we've seen something happen where he just it cracked him up. The last time was when his pants ripped. He was laughing his ass off about that. Then he slipped and fell last night. He got up with a big old smile on his face, once again laughing. I appreciate that about Brock Lesnar. Robbie, what did you think when he fell down? What was your thought?
Well, you can tell his boots slipped out on him. But I mean, and it was funny with the, all the memes with, Cena got his revenge in with that clothesline.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like twice, this stuff with his pants, he would, he laughed at himself. Like you said, he doesn't seem like he's that type of guy that would laugh at himself.
Right.
I mean, he just, because you see him in a lot of it. Like if you watch him when they interview him and stuff, and the way he talks and stuff like that, he just doesn't seem like he'd come off as that type. But
right,
I give him credit that he was laughing at it, And I mean, you could kind of even see Paul laugh about it, So
right. Bob, did you think we were watching? Oh man, who was the guy that went through the wall and then fell down in the early?
Yeah, that's my buddy Fred Altman. That's not.
Yeah, Fred. It was Fred, but
he still makes money off that. So hey.
What was the gimmick? What was the character called again? The
Shockmaster.
Shockmaster, right? Did you think you were watching the debut of the Shockmaster 2.0 last night when Lesnar fell? No,
not at all. But what I do think when it comes to Lesnar is I think that the last few years he's actually been having fun on his time in WWE as opposed to before, where I think he viewed it more as a job or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong, but he just seems to be having more fun all the way around. The last few years he's come back, especially when they brought him back originally after he was gone for, and he was allowed to show his personality and talk. And I thought he was really good in that role without having Heyman as his mouthpiece. Right. So I just think he's having a good time, and he just goes with the flow. I could be wrong. He could have went back and destroyed the backstage and strangled the guy who put that stuff down there that was slippery. I don't know, but sued the manufacturer of the boots and everything else. Who knows? I think, and this is just my opinion. Obviously, I don't know Brock Lesnar, but to me, it seemed like the first time he started having fun was when he won the Money in the Bank briefcase and he started coming out with on his shoulders like it was the like a boombox from back in the day. That's when you really started to see that side of Brock Lesnar, or the first time I've noticed it. But yeah, I can kind of see that he's having fun. What's your response to that, Robbie?
That makes sense. I mean, it would make sense that that you'd kind of laugh at yourself, whatever, and you're just having now you're finally having fun, whatever. Right.
And you're making millions of dollars a year and you're not working very hard or very often, you're going to tend to have fun during the times you're there, I would imagine. I don't know. Yeah. Yep. Now, maybe I think he's probably just happy to be away from his wife is the real reason. He's like, I've had a good time. Now, maybe I missed this part or it went over my head, but unlike the women's WarGames chaos where we've seen who was standing tall at the end of it. We're talking about Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. With this brawl, who was left standing tall as it was going off air? Was it anyone at all, or was it just left as chaos? What do you mean on the men thing? Yeah, as it went off air, Oh yeah, it was just chaos as it went off air. I don't know what happened after.
Right. So what I was getting to was this, because that's what I thought. I like that they ended it that way instead of ending it with one side standing tall over the other.
Right.
Because again, Wrestling 101 means whoever's standing tall is going to lose at the PLE most of the time. So I'm glad that we didn't have either side standing tall as we were going off air. As I said, Survivor Series is coming this Saturday, and I want to talk about Survivor Series for a moment with the matches. Robbie, start with you. Is there one particular match that you're excited to see over the others?
Yeah, the women's WarGames. I just you want to see, is Io going to do another crazy stunt? I'm favored more to that side,
Right.
with Charlotte and Alexa, and I'm more of a fan of that side than the other side. I mean, never been a Nia Jax fan. I really have never been fond of Lash Legend. Right now, you just kind of want Becky Lynch to go away. And then not a fan of Asuka. The only one I'm a fan of on that side is Kairi Sane. And she's kind of getting to be like Asuka from hanging around Asuka with all the dancing crap and all that stuff. I just,
Yeah. What I found ridiculous last night, by the way, as Asuka and Kairi Sane and the Kabuki Warriors came out, was how they turned their backs to the ring and they were shaking their ass when they don't. First off, you don't have an ass. Sorry, you're Asian. I love my wife. My wife is one of the most beautiful women you will ever see. And I'm not saying that just because my wife. We hear it all the time from people saying this about my wife. But I'm sorry, she's Asian. She has no ass, right? Asian women don't have asses for the most part. That was just so ridiculous. And it's a turnoff, though. It makes me not want to invest into this team because of goofy shit like that.
Right. I mean, you look like a stripper on that part. Basically,
all right, what's this guy say? What's this guy saying? I can't read it.
Yeah. So GZ504 says the original Survivor Series style match is going to be on SmackDown instead of Survivor Series. Partial win, whatever that means. And thank you for watching the podcast. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Now, Robbie, let me ask you this, and we're going to get to you, Bob. What is your prediction? Who's going to be the winner in this match? What team?
The women's. I'm predicting Charlotte Flair, Alexa, AJ,
right?
Rhea, and Kairi. That's my prediction. Even though you're saying the other teams, this team stood tall, I would, that's my prediction.
Right.
I could see it going the other way.
Right.
Just cause.
Right. Bob, do you have a match you're looking forward to watching over any other match in this Survivor Series?
I'm looking forward to both WarGames matches. And I actually want to see Nikki Bella's match because I like Nikki Bella. I don't care what anybody says. Right. I may not like her ass, but I still like her. It's part of her. Right?
And we're going to get to that. But do you, and I know you hate doing this, but I'm going to ask you to do it anyway. Prediction. Who's going to win this match, the men's WarGame?
Yeah, I hate to agree with the guy with the tattoos and the one, not you, the other one. I agree that the baby faces are going to win.
All right, we'll see. The match that's really intriguing me is actually the John Cena versus Dominik Mysterio match. And I'll tell you why. And I've been saying this. There's no way Cena's retiring with this IC title. They're going to get it off of him. They're going to have to. I'm so intrigued to see if they're going to do it at Survivor Series. And if so, how are they going to do it? Is it going to be a clean win by Dominik? Is there going to be interference? Or are they going to have John Cena actually retain the belt and his final match is him actually defending the belt, which would make sense actually because if it is going to be Gunther is the longest reigning IC champion ever in WWE history.
Really?
Yes. Yep. Yep, he beat the Honky Tonk Man's record when he carried it.
My favorite Intercontinental Champion was the Magnificent Morocco.
Yes, I actually agree with that. But we're talking about who has held the title the longest, and at the time, it was the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh my God!
Gunther actually beat that record. Are they going to take the IC title off of Cena and put it on Gunther, which means that is Cena going to actually lose his last match? And if they do that, are we going to see another fucking 3-year run of the IC title with Gunther again? Now I do want predictions for the matches. When it comes to the match, the Women's World Championship, Stephanie Vaquer versus Bella. Robbie, I think this is a no-brainer, but what is your prediction?
If the no-brainer is Stephanie keeps it.
Right.
And if you match skill for skill, Bella can't touch Stephanie as skill for skill.
Yeah.
Nothing against Nikki, but Stephanie is the better of the two.
Okay. What about you, Cook?
I would say the only way that Nikki would win is if Brie made a surprise appearance. You never know.
That would be interesting.
But I do think that Stephanie will retain the title. And to go back to what we were talking about before, I think it would make much more sense to have John Cena go into his last match as the Intercontinental Champion, because there's something to lose besides just the match. And it would just add intrigue to that match, that Gunther versus Cena for the championship in his last match. And people could say, well, John's going to lose for sure. And then let John win. Yeah. And then have one of those ridiculous tournaments.
That'd be interesting. Jeezy, real quick, Jeezy504 says, by the way, I am subscribed. Thank you, Jeezy, for subscribing. He says, but I would be on the show if I could have. Apologize, my man. My guys that are on the show are only people with a business, professional wrestlers. But hey, I appreciate it. Go ahead, Robbie.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
You're talking about the Cena match.
Boy, you're doing that a lot tonight, Robbie.
What, interrupt or?
Don't you hate when people interrupt?
You know what it is?
God, I hate when people interrupt.
See,
it drives me crazy when people
we wanted Robbie to get, a better camera, better microphone, and his internet working. And now that it does, now we're starting to say maybe you should go back to the old shit so you stop interrupting.
Yeah, he's gotten cocky now.
Trying to get some FaceTime, hey.
Well, Bob, you do know that Robbie sent me a message cussing me out because I was rooting for you instead of him. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Well, I told him I was disappointed. So,
Well. What are you talking about? That match January 17th?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yep.
So, I can see them, Dominik, putting the strap back on Dominik with interference from the Judgment Day. I can see that. And kind of, if they're going to take the strap off of Cena and put it on Gunther, I'd rather see him put it back on Dominik. That's my personal opinion. I'd rather see Dominik with it because I think he's more entertaining than Gunther. But or agree with Bob. If Cena keeps it, I'd rather see Cena go over Gunther and throw a tournament out there.
Yeah, that I didn't even think about that. Now, and Bob, I'm sorry, I know you're not a big fan of Dirty Dom. I am. If you compare where he's at now to where Ray was at that point of his career, where Dom is at, Dom is already, have achieved. He's already achieved more than what his dad has at that point of each of their career. I think Dom is going to go on to become a really, really big star. I think that once he becomes a babyface, that he's going to probably be the top babyface on, in WWE, at least for a while. So I wouldn't mind seeing Dom get that belt back. Now, when it comes to the Women's WarGames, sorry guys, I'm going to disagree because I have a feeling that WWE is going to go according to Wrestling 101, which is whoever is standing tall at the go home show, they lose at the PLE. So I think that Becky Lynch and her group of women are going to go over. With the men, I think that it's going to be the team of Reed and Brian Breaker, Paul Logan, because I think that there's going to be some fuckery that happens on the other side. And I have this is what I'm calling, that everything's going to unravel on the other side because of whoever takes the L, whoever shoulders gets pinned. I think it's going to be Jimmy's shoulders that's going to get pinned. And I think that's going to cause a rift between him and Jay. And I think Roman's going to take up for Jay, and we're going to see Roman Reigns and Jey Uso turn heel. That I'm sticking by. Robbie, your opinion about that? I know Bob's thinks I'm crazy.
No, I mean, I could see it happen. So, I mean, who, again, without being backstage and knowing what creative, but that would kind of, though it happened, maybe it surprised the crowd or whatever, and it would be different, and you just want to see different. It just kind of seems like we've talked about before on other shows. Just seems like creative just cruising, so do something to surprise people.
Right. Now, this is what I tell you I don't want to happen. I don't want to see Fatu come back and run into the ring and attack and go after the person that attacked him, that causes injury, because we just seen it whenever Jade came back. That's exactly what happened. She ran and she got inside the ring of the Elimination Chamber and she attacked whatever her name is. Naomi. She attacked Naomi as the one because Naomi's the one that attacked Jade behind the scenes, caused her to be injured and off of TV for a while. I hope to God that they don't do that. Bob, before we close the show out, do you think I'm absolutely fucking nuts with my prediction of both Roman Reigns and Jey Uso turning?
Yes, because I think you're going to be able to tell who's going to win the last match based on who wins the women's match. Because if the heels win the women's match, then the baby faces are winning the men's and vice versa. But there's been too many heel turns lately. Nikki Bella turned heel, Jade turned heel, this guy, that guy. We don't need it. We don't need it.
I didn't say we needed it.
Well, I'm saying it ain't going to happen.
But we're talking about WWE, and unfortunately, we're talking about WWE wanting to please ESPN with having some type of a big shocker because of what ESPN been bitching about, which their main bitch has been, there's not been a whole lot of surprises. I think that they're...
Yeah, but that's not even really, if you did do that, that's not like a big surprise.
Roman Reigns would be the last one you would think would turn heel just because he's such a huge baby face.
Yeah, and you know what happened when Steve Austin was a huge babyface and they turned him heel and he sided with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 17 and one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, one of the greatest matches of all time against The Rock. There was blood, there was guts, there was intrigue, there was controversy, and then Austin's popularity went down from there.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that, especially when Roman's so popular right now. You're messing with the formula that's working. Don't fuck with it. You usually mess with stuff when guys start losing their popularity. Like remember when Hulk Hogan got turned on, or Mr. Wonderful, Wright, Piper, and Orton turned on Mr. Wonderful and he teamed with Hogan, and then Hogan got turned on by Orndorff and it drew huge money. You don't mess with stuff when they're drawing huge money. Well, I don't know if they're drawing huge money, but Roman's so over right now. Why mess with it? And go back to Dom. You're talking about this. There's going to be almost 40,000 people in the crowd Saturday night.
Right.
And it's in where? San Diego, San Francisco, somewhere in that area where a lot of people in Dom's demographic are going to be there. So he's going to be probably the most over guy in the show, and people are going to be torn. They're going to be doing a lot of this. Let's go, Dom. Cena sucks. Right. Let's go. It's going to be that kind of a crowd. They're going to be torn. They're going to be this. So letting him win would probably be insane.
Right. Yep. So GZ504 says, KG No Sales, his co-host in the group chat. LOL, man, they have enough people that's selling for them. They don't need me to sell for them. By the way, Jeezy, are you from New Orleans, Louisiana? I know 504 is the area code because I am from near New Orleans, Louisiana. Let me know. Cook, you have anything going that you want to plug?
No, I'm going to watch some more episodes of The Peacemaker.
Isn't that a great show?
On HBO Max for $2.99 a month for a year. That's a pretty damn good deal.
Yeah. Isn't that a great show?
Oh, I love it. John Cena's hilarious. I like it when he says, I'll kill women for all in the name of peace. I'll kill men, women, and children.
By the way, you know what? George Strong, Gerald, that's my ass. This whole time, GZ504 is actually Gerald, you punk.
What?
Yeah, it's Gerald fucking with us, you motherfucker. Son of a bitch. Yeah, Peacemakers are great. I love the show. Have you been able to check it out, Robbie?
No.
With John Cena?
No,
Man,
I haven't seen it. No.
You should jump on the deal. Bob jumped in on got HBO Max for a full year for $2.99.
Really?
And you get to watch AEW Dynamite and Collision and all the other shows they had before that, and like all the Dynamites in the very beginning. I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Send me how you got there.
Yep.
Well, you go to HBO Max and they go, here, you want to take the deal? $2.99 a month for a year.
Yeah.
Cancel any time.
Robbie, do you have anything that you want to plug, sir? I know you should plug your book. You should plug your upcoming match.
Yeah, we're going to plug both of them. We plug my book, get my book, Looking Up at the Lights, on Amazon Kindle. That'll be the easiest way to get it. So easy read. Everybody is so far that's read it, loves it. I'd appreciate you go getting it. Like to plug the January 17th match and it'll be the final match at the TWA Studios. So for $15, you can come out, get fed, watch matches, hang out with the wrestlers. You get to see me, Richie Paradise, and the Cuban Assassin beat Bob Cook, his kid Robbie Cook, and Pablo Marquez. And you can see for the first time ever, Bob and Robbie teaming up together. So come out, support it, support your local independent wrestling, and you can get tickets online. You can get a hold of me, you can get a hold of Bob, you can get a hold of his kid Robbie. We'll get you tickets.
And you son of a bitch, you made me tear up reading some of your books. So there. And let me go ahead and say that I have to say this. I have to get it out of the way because I know your audience is listening. They're going, Bob's going to disappoint us tonight if he doesn't say this. When KG said, do you have anything to plug? My first thing that comes to mind is Soruka, Maxine. See, I had to go there. People will be disappointed if I didn't.
I agree. Robbie.
I honestly thought when he said, when he read my book and he teared up, I thought maybe he was going to go buy Robbie Idol's book. It actually is worth it. But then
one of my favorite stories is the one where we beat up that DJ. That's a classic. I remember. Well, that was a cage match, wasn't it?
No, it was just.
It wasn't a cage match? But man, I remember that. That was so much fun. Smart ass. He's probably dead.
My favorite story is when both of you jambronis were arguing and was going to go beat each other's asses, but
Shell station.
Yeah, you just gave up at some point. You couldn't find the Shell station. Robbie, and I've actually done this before, so this is the last time I'm going to ask you. Please send me the information or where to buy your book so I can put it on the description when I put this when I release this podcast to other places. Also, guys, don't forget ECUSA. Please support us there as well. If you don't have the app, turn on your Roku device or your Fire Stick device or your Apple device. Actually, go to the search menu, type in ECUSA TV, select it, click add, and you're in. Once you have it, you can watch our podcast episodes on demand, along with tons of other great programming. So again, that's ECUSA TV on Roku, Apple, Fire Stick. Find it, support us. Make sure you catch us our live shows on YouTube and Facebook, and please subscribe. Go ahead.
Can I say something before we
go? Yeah.
A lot of people like to say they love professional wrestling. They're dedicated here. They're dedicated there. They'll do anything. But I'll show you dedication and love. One time, Robbie Idol, myself, and a guy named Paul Drake drove all the way to Michigan from Florida to wrestle. Robbie wrestled Buzzsaw. I had to wrestle the Steiner brothers. I don't remember who Paul wrestled. We got there. There was a blizzard. The place was sold out. I'm not kidding. It was sold out. And we drove all the way back that night. There in four. We didn't even stay in a hotel room. And I got some of it on tape. You remember that, Robbie?
Yes, I do.
I got some of it on tape. It was snowing. We were messing with the people in the Wendy's restaurant. I remember it like it was yesterday. Unfortunately, it wasn't. That's dedication.
Before we go, I actually have a question for both of you. So one of my favorite managers as a kid watching professional wrestling on Mid-South Wrestling was a gentleman by the name of Skandar Akbar. I actually just wrote an article, a little small article on Facebook about him, guys. Also, follow me on Facebook. I write a lot of stories and new stuff. So follow me on Facebook so you can keep up with all that stuff. Have you guys ever been able to meet back in the day Skandar Akbar or even work with him?
I didn't.
I met him one time at an indie show. I was with my friend Penelope Paradise. I don't remember even how we got there. I think it was in New Orleans, but he was running the show. And I got to meet him then. And that was the only time I ever met him. Nice guy, but that's all I remember of him. Was never a huge fan of his character. It's kind of a ripoff of the Sheik Adnan character out of the AWA and stuff. But that's what wrestling is, right? The Great Mephisto, this guy, that guy. But everybody steals from everybody. Robbie Idol stole from me. He calls himself Robbie the Cooker Idol. I don't even understand why, but he does.
Well, one of my favorite times with the Iron Sheik was actually when his manager was Skandar Akbar.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, and I might be, so you guys let me know, correct me in the chat. But you remember when the Iron Sheik started bringing those big dumbbells,
clubs,
the rings,
Persian clubs?
I think that started with Skandar Akbar. Actually, the first time he did it was with Skandar Akbar, if I remember correctly. Again,
where was it? Mid-South?
It was Mid-South Wrestling.
Was he the Iron Sheik or the Great Hussein?
Let me put it to you this way. It was the first time I ever seen him do it in Mid-South. He may have did it before, I don't know. But in my lifetime of watching him, that's the first time I see him do it. And I'm pretty sure Skandar Akbar was his manager at the time.
You know, I was
doing it.
I was in a tag team match once with the Iron Sheik, the Cuban Assassin, and a guy named Mike Awesome who wore my mask, and they just called him the Pro. My mask. Mm-hmm. You know, you ever heard of Mike Awesome, right? He Mike. I mean, Robbie knows Mike. Last time we saw him, I think, was at that ECW show that we got in from Fonzie. Then Mike killed himself, but it's not our fault. That personal problem. You know what did it? It was a woman. We'll go there. Yeah. Anyways, but the point is, Sheik had those clubs backstage, and we, by the way, were wrestling against the Steiners and the Road Warriors. And yes, I'm name dropping, but that's a cool thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But he had those clubs backstage. I could barely pick him up. And this guy's It's all balanced to a degree. Al Snow uses those. If you watch Al Snow, that's about all he does nowadays is that stuff.
Yeah. Robbie, have you ever been fortunate enough to be in the ring with Iron Sheik?
No.
Yeah. You know, look, Skandar Akbar managed so many, men who went on to become legends. Kamala, Iron Sheik, Teddy DiBiase. Matter of fact,
he was in Texas, right? Too, also.
He was, yeah. The big storyline that I remember Skandar Akbar being involved in was when he threw that fireball and Hacksaw Jim Duggan's face. And it actually, for real, burned a lot of his beard off when he did that. Yeah, man, great times. That's the type of stuff I grew up on and why I have such a hard time with a lot of the cheesiness with WWE. I grew up on shit that was just brutality.
You were just talking about love in the Dom midget segment. What the?
Yeah, but that's you're right. There's some things I do like, but a lot of the cheesy shit I'm just not a fan of. I like blood and guts and brutality when it comes to wrestling. But yeah, guys, that will wrap up this episode of Get Your Bell Rung Pro Wrestling Podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. You can also find Robbie Idol on Facebook. Give him a follow. And give the Cooker Bob Cook a follow as well. Don't forget. Go ahead.
You can find me at the Shell station waiting for Robbie. That's where you'll find me.
And guys, if it takes a little bit of time for Robbie Idol to get back to you, if you follow him, be patient. He's probably popping, 25, 30 Tylenol during that moment.
He's typing up the blade. Didn't you use a whole blade back in the day, like the whole thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
like
not the whole thing. I used half of it.
oh,
So
like a normal person clips a little piece of it. You take like the half the blade.
But no, I used the half blade. I just had my manager hand me the half blade.
Like Rick just had like a little speck of the blade and he did damage.
I know, and we're going to wrap this up, but I have to ask a question since you guys brought up blading. I want both of you guys to answer this. The very first time you were supposed to blade yourself to bleed, that had to be, even though it's not a very big cut you have to make, that has to be nerve-wracking the first time you do it. Is it not?
I don't remember what I felt. I just knew it was part of the business and I never questioned it. I loved having bloody brawls.
Right.
But we had one of the funnest matches of all time when I know you want to go, but it was Robbie Idol, a guy named Jack Corbin, and a guy named Jeff James, Playboy Jeff James, against me, Tom Horn, and Rick Ryder in a cage, 30-degree weather, huge, like a good crowd right at the well field, a baseball field. It was outdoors. You could see my mother-in-law and my mother, my grandmother, and my wife sitting in the crowd with blankets around them. You could see people's breath. It was freezing. But we went for like 30 minutes nonstop. Blood everywhere. Fantastic. I love bloody matches, but I always hated the act of.
Yeah, and that was
it doesn't really hurt. It's just
the first time I ever bladed, and that it's in the book, but it was like, when my coach, one of my ex-football coaches, or former high school football coach, his kid was like, I could tell when you were blading. If you watch the tape, you can see me like here, and I'm lifting my head and trying to look and stuff, And
do you have that match on tape?
That was the very first time I ever bladed.
Huh. What, the cage match?
Yeah.
You have that on tape?
Yeah.
Okay, so do I. I have it on a hard drive, like right here, a DVD player that used a DVD recorder with a hard drive.
I have it on.
I have it right there.
On a VHS tape, and I have it on a DVD.
Robbie, I'll be honest with you. As much talent, and guys, this is all in the book. Let's say get the book. As much Tylenol as you were eating every day for a month, you could have just taken a fingernail and just kind of cut yourself a little bit in the head, and blood would have been flowing everywhere.
I know, but here was the thing, though. Again, we're kind of giving the book away a little bit, but because of me talking to Tommy Rich after I had saw Tommy on the cover and what he told me, I just always thought more is better. So, that's why we went that route.
More aspirin, more blade, more blood.
That's it.
Bigger, better.
If the half blade didn't work, I had the one in my fingertip too, Bob. So
that's funny.
Now, and by the way, I said we were going to get going because I'm trying to be respectful for you guys' time. But if you guys,
I got nothing to do.
Yeah, we'll talk for a little bit.
That's right. I'll be in the gym at 5 a.m. How much we get done in there? Probably not much.
I'll just be going to bed about that time.
Now I got to make something to eat because the dog over there ate it. Son of a bitch.
What was the very first thing that you guys did when you started wrestling that made you the most nervous as far as doing your first? Start with Cook first.
What I did, I don't like for a first
what was
match
the first thing?
Just...
Was it jumping off the rope for the first time? What is the one thing that you did for the first time that made you nervous more than anything else?
Meeting the great Malenko. Because I had just grown up reading about him in the wrestling magazines on the cover with blood and chains and not knowing the whole business completely. And you're like, God, I got to meet this guy. He always had a crazy look in his eye. Then you met him and he's like the most awesome person ever to walk the earth. But that's really what was the most nerve-wracking, was meeting the great Malenko based on what I had heard and read and seen up until the time I met him.
Right. What about you, Robbie?
The most nerve-wracking was the tryout, thought I was just going to watch TV taping with Rick and everything, and then 2 blocks away, Rick said, I got you a tryout, and that was probably the most nerve-wracking, getting a tryout with Florida Championship Wrestling. Because you knew if you screwed it up, you were done.
Yeah. Now, Bob, you just brought up an interesting point about something. at one particular point in time, we were all marks at some point in time in our lives, as wrestling fans, right? So as guys, two guys like you who actually got into wrestling, how did you guys handle meeting that one person? You talked about the Great Malenko. How did you guys handle meeting just that one person that you knew that if you ever met, you would mark out for? Like, how did you control yourself for not?
To me, it was Terry Funk.
Okay.
When he walked in the dressing room of the Sportatorium in 1986, I say it all the time, I'm going to sound silly, but it was almost like, to me, God walked in. He's like, oh, there's a light behind him, and there's a silhouette, and there he is, and he sticks his hand out, and I'm Terry Funk. He's the nicest guy ever. But you want to talk about being a mark, and I know Robbie wants to get his spiel in here. Talk about being a mark. The first time I met Abdul the Butcher, I was in Jacksonville, Florida, in the dressing room, and Dusty's in there, Bugsy McGraw, Kevin Sullivan, the Four Horsemen, and Abdullah walks in, and the room goes quiet. And I'm sitting there getting dressed, and I'm like, holy shit, it's Abdul the Butcher. And again, the same with Malenko. All I've ever seen was blood and guts and forks and, violence.
Right.
And he walks in, and the whole room goes quiet. And Dusty and Abby go to meet each other in the middle of the room. And I'm thinking, holy shit, we're going to have to break up a fight. What's going to happen, right? I'm literally marking out. You talking about marking out. I've been in the business this is 1987, so however many years that was, 6 years by then. And I'm literally like, holy shit, what's going to happen? Because everybody's quiet. They're just watching. And they get in the middle of the room, whatever. They hug. Dusty kisses Abby on the cheek, and he goes, how you doing, baby? And I was just like, it's all the work. Everything's
What about you, Robbie?
I'd have to say when I met Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So Flair, because you watched him, even as you're, growing. And I mean, I didn't meet Flair till I got to WCW. So, he was one of the guys. Him and Austin Idol were probably the two guys, that I, probably wanted to be like the most. I mean, I was a big fan of Terry and watching Terry as a kid, and that was a moment. But like the most that it was the hardest not to mark out was Flair.
And he's cool as hell.
Yes. And supposedly what is funny is, I guess in January, the week after the 17th, they're doing like combining shows, TWA, and I'm not sure who the other promotion
Veterans
is.
Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, supposedly what I've been told is Austin Idol's supposed to be there on the 24th, and I've never met the guy.
Whoa,
and I'm like, you know what? I might have to go. He probably would go, me telling I took your last name because I looked up to you. You probably look at me.
And by the way, fans, for those who are basement dwellers who live under a rock, who's watching this podcast, Austin Idol, amongst many of his achievements, was actually the first guy to carry the NWA National Wrestling Championship title. I've told my story about Charlotte Flair and how I accidentally came across as a mark because I scared the shit out of her. I was more marking out for my kids because my kids, at that time, they were little. They loved Charlotte. Oh, that's Charlotte Flair Day. It's Charlotte Flair Day, right? The person that I actually had to control myself, who I wanted to mark out for, believe it or not, was earlier this year, we had Barbara Goodish came set next to me to come talk to me for a moment before an event because I loved Bruiser Brody as a kid. Loved this man. And being that the wife of Bruiser Brody, Barbara Goodish, sat next to me, holy shit, I was in heaven. I mean, I'm sitting next to greatness who married greatness. But now when it comes to you guys, this is my last question. And when it comes to you guys actually getting into the ring with someone that you wanted to mark out for, how did you handle that? Because, I mean, here you are having to entertain fans. You're in the ring with, basically your idols when you're really like deep down wanting to mark out for. Did you guys have a strategy or something you guys did to calm yourself down in order to make sure that you put on a good match?
Cry, I think. I'm going to tell the story of when I got to wrestle Ric Flair. I didn't want to do it. Dave Penta came up to me. It was at the Disney Studios when they were doing the tapings there in '93. And Dave comes up, he goes, "Guess who you're wrestling?" I said, "Who? Vader?" He goes, "No, Jody wouldn't make you wrestle that fat fuck. He said you're wrestling Flair." And I said, "Flair? I don't want to wrestle Flair." And he said, "What do you mean you don't want to wrestle Flair?" He said, "Jody was thinking of someone to work." I said, "You'd be great." And he said, "That's good." And I said, "Well, yeah, I would love to work Flair, but what if I hurt him? I'll be the most hated guy in the business, right? It's Ric Flair, for God's sake. I was scared if I made a mistake and hurt him somehow." So it wasn't that I was afraid of wrestling Ric Flair. I certainly was an honor, and he was absolutely awesome. But when I first heard it, it's like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to hurt him by accident, you know?
Right. Yeah, I can only imagine being in the ring with Ric Flair.
Yeah, it was the best. You didn't, just before we went out, we're standing behind the curtain, and I said, because we're ready to go out, I said, "What are we going to do?" He goes, "Just listen to me, Bob, and remember the figure 4," which meant everything you see me do in a match, he told me to do, and I knew the ending was, right. He shot me off, he goes, "Backdrop, figure 4. Boom, that's it.
Wow.
He told me when to poke his eyes. He told me to get on him with the punches, and I knocked him down, people. I knocked him down. Even Robbie Idol can't claim that, although Robbie Idol wrestled Jerry Lawler one-on-one. I only had a tag team match with Lawler. Son of a bitch.
What about you, Robbie?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to one story here real quick because the first of the year. So when I went to see Pantera at the first of the year, well, one of my buddies and his wife was there, and we're all talking out in the corridor. And I see her coming in. She was with her husband or boyfriend. And I went, "You guys know who this is, don't you?" And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to draw attention to her. Now I regret not getting a picture with her. But so she walked by, didn't say anything because I didn't really want to draw attention. So then I guess her boyfriend must have went to get beers, bathroom, whatever. And I saw her standing by herself. So I walked over and I went, it was Shotzi. What a sweetheart. I got to talk to her for about 10 minutes. And the only reason why, and I regret not getting that picture, I didn't want to draw attention to her so people weren't,
right.
In case people did find, recognize her or something. So I was trying to protect her, because I thought, but I went over and introduced myself and talked to her, and we talked for about 10 minutes. Total sweetheart. I just a real nice kid. You kind of, people, when you meet people like that, you just really want to see them go far in the business just because of, how they are out and stuff. And she wasn't like, blow you off or whatever. She,
right.
Talked to you and everything. Just like I said, a total sweetheart. The other one that's going to make Bob upset that I got to work with here. And it was one-on-one, and it was nervous because you watched him as a kid and, a true legend and everything. And I was always nervous before, the first spot and stuff. And this was one of those matches you definitely didn't want to screw up or, fuck up or anything.
Right.
Dory Funk Jr. And I had to work him in Robarts. And, just got through the match. I did well, didn't screw anything up. But, here as a kid, from the first time you started, watching wrestling, he was one of those big names, and you knew that this guy was, this was greatness you're stepping in the ring with. This was like a legendary guy.
Right.
Like, one of the best ever.
You don't want to screw this up,
Yeah.
One of my funnest matches ever was me and Dory against Bugsy and Jerry Gray at the fairgrounds in Orlando that time. Battle under the big top.
Partners with him. I got to work him.
Well, I know. That's cool. He lives right up the road from me.
It wasn't Terry, but hey,
it's cool.
And I sorry, I have one more question. I swear this will be the last one.
Okay, you're good. It's all good.
So, in the podcast, both of you tell me the highlights of your career. And I'm not talking, skip not winning a belt, the true highlight where this moment happened and you thought to yourself, if my wrestling career ended tonight, I could honestly end it with a smile on my face because of this. Bob?
It may sound strange, but the true ultimate highlight of my time in wrestling is the friendships that I've made that are lifelong friends with Robbie, with my friend Jay Goodley, with the Cuban, with guys like that. And even Dory Funk Jr. right up the road. I'm invited to go visit them anytime I want. It's that kind of stuff that is truly the highlight of my career, Brian Blair and all the rest, because they're just my best friends, and I love them all, and I know they love me, at least sometimes. But if you want to go to real highlights within the ring, though, it was wrestling the great Malenko's last match. It was teaming with Joe Malenko in his last match. It was wrestling Flair. It was wrestling like the legends like Lawler and people that you just admired. And, I mean, there's so many highlights. I mean, sitting and talking to Harley Race like he's not an equal, don't get me wrong, but just sitting and talking to Harley Race where he knows your name and he's, you know what I mean? Stuff like that is gold to me.
Yeah. Yep. I can only imagine. Robbie?
That's right, buddy. And you keep that in mind. You can only imagine.
Well, no, and it is like that because, I mean, with, have to say like a highlight with, like, okay, friendship with Bob. I mean, it's not even a friendship. It's like he's family. Like truthfully, my mom had 8, there were 9 kids in my mom's family. Out of those that I only knew like 5 aunts and uncles. Didn't even realize I had 4 other people in there. And out of those 9 people, I know 1 cousin, and we're really not close, and it's nobody's fault. It's just, I don't reach out to him. He doesn't reach out to me. Once in a while we'll, hey, I haven't talked to him, and it may be a long time where, Bob's like a brother that he didn't have. Rick is like a brother that, these, like, Rick trained me. So Rick and I are inseparable. Billy Lindsay.
Drag his ass out of the house one of these days.
Billy Lindsay, like, if it wasn't for Billy, I don't know that I would have had the run in, in 99 for 3 more years, reinvented me.
Which, by the way, I'll be to interrupt you, but you brought up his name. By the way, Billy Lindsay is going to be on the podcast on December 3rd. December 3rd. Mr. Lindsay will be on my podcast. And for those who's like, that name sounds familiar, well, he was an indie wrestler, but his son is Roderick Strong, who wrestles for AEW, guys. So I'm looking forward to that. And what's crazy is Bill Lindsay, he's also an Elvis impersonator. He's actually won awards for his impersonation of Elvis. So that's going to be a really, really fun podcast. Robbie will be joining us as well. I interrupted you. I apologize.
It's all good, KT. So, like that, like he's like a big brother to me. TNT Mahoney, another one that helped reinvent me. So like he said, and then, being able to talk, like I remember, you'd be to the arena. So like I sat and I talked to Ron Simmons. I'd talk to Lex Luger. You'd talk to Tom Zink, guys like that. And it was just, which was funny because tell you a funny story about Tom Zink. When I'd leave the arena, kids would always run up to me and ask me, go, Z-Man, would you sign my autograph? So I would talk to Tom and go, Tom, I hope you're not mad I'm signing your name. These kids think I'm the Z-Man. He goes, Dad, don't worry. They think I'm Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner.
And what was
funny, they had the mullets, the mullet days.
It was the mullet thing. So I'd be sitting talking to them, and the Steiners came in, and they looked at both of us and go, you guys brothers? And we go, no. They go, are you sure? You guys look exactly alike. And when they had said it, I thought to myself, man, how cool would this be if they teamed me up with Tom? I'll take the losses for this. Right? Be cool to call us the Z-Men or whatever, But, stuff like that. But if you go to the ring, I would say the 3 matches that were, I can't say, because I group them all together. The 6-man steel cage, that was just memorable. And that was probably like early in my career or shortly after I started. And I was honored that they thought enough of me to bring me in like that and stuff. So that match, of course, the bloodbath match with Rick at Lemon Bay, and my supposedly last match in 201, my tables, ladders, and chairs match with TNT. So those 3 matches are like very memorable. Right. The meaning, if you'd have dropped dead after one of them, you could have went out happy saying, wow, this was cool,
Right. Well, guys, that does end this episode. But before we end, just want to let you know that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, I am going to have his name is Cowboy Gator McGraw. He's right here from Minnesota. He actually just had his last retirement match. He is a great, great guy. I love speaking to him. I'm excited to have him on the podcast. And then on the 28th, which is Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, 6 p.m. Central, good friend of mine, the Silverback, Joe Helms, is going to be on the podcast. And then on the 3rd, as I said, Bill Lindsay, again, 6 p.m. Central. Then what I'm looking forward to is I'm Damon McBee, who is Malibu from the show The Gladiators. He's coming on. And then I am so fortunate that I was able to have this guy come on my podcast. Bob has mentioned his family. He's even mentioned this person. Joe Malenko is going to be on December 15th. And Bob, since you have such a good, close relationship with Joe, you are more than welcome to join us. I think that would be a fun podcast as well, with you joining us.
Well,
I have a lot.
Joe doesn't mind. I will. If
Yeah,
Joe
I'll let him
doesn't
know.
mind,
Yep.
I don't want to intrude on his stories because Joe's a
Sure.
funny guy. Well, you met him before.
Yep. I'm going to talk to him about that. And something that I'm going to work on is having my very first interview with father and son. Of course, I'm talking about Bob Cook and his son Robert Cook, which I haven't even approached them yet about it. I am now live.
You should have asked my kid about Evel Knievel when you talked to him.
I didn't even think about it because we were talking about his career. Whenever I'm interviewing a second generation talent like your son, I try to make sure that the questions are equal as far as talking about you and talking about him, because I didn't want him to come on the podcast thinking, well, this guy just wants to talk about my dad. What about, my stuff? So I try to, have equal questions, maybe even lean a little bit more asking him personal questions than talking about their, in his case, their dad being a pro wrestler. Because I can only imagine, as much as he loves you, how old that has to get. Oh, you're Bob Cook's son. Is your punch just as good as your dad?
I doubt that he gets that. But it was a good interview, though. I liked it. I thought when I watched it, I went,
very good.
Hey, my kid's pretty well. My kid's pretty well spoken. What's going on here?
Yes, I very much enjoyed that interview. But again, guys, that wraps up the podcast. Please subscribe. We will be, besides my interviews I just talked about, we will be back on Thursday to discuss the fallout from Fall Gear, AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. It will be myself, Robbie Ido, and Michael. Why can I never remember his last name? McCurry. That's it, McCurry. He's going to kill me if he sees this. We're going to be all talking about the Dynamite episode. Did we like it? Did we love it? Did we just think it was okay? Are they going to actually follow through with the storylines from, Full Gear? We will find out, guys. Until then, you guys have a good rest of your week. Robbie, Bob, thank you for sharing some stories. That I love that. We need to do that more. I really appreciate that. You guys have a great night.
Well, and here's the other thing from the wrestling thing. I'm going to interrupt you, but talking about people you got to meet you, KG.
Oh, thank you.
It's, you're a very great guy. Amazingly, we hit it off right away and everything. I consider you family. So, I
thank
think
you.
the world of you, even though, we don't live by each other.
Right.
But I just think you're a great guy. And so it's like the wrestling business, even people that weren't wrestlers that you get to meet, you get to be close to and stuff like that. It just, that means a lot, that you make a certain friendship or you consider them family and stuff like that, that's just such a, it's awesome. That's totally, and it's fortunate, I guess you could say that in any sport or whatever, but
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like I say, I've told you before, I'm super glad I was able to meet you. Bob, I recommended you for an interview. Was one of the best things he did because I did connect with you right away. And this podcast, that means you working with Bob as well. They always say don't meet people that you kind of idolized as a kid because you'll be disappointed. And I've not once been disappointed by Bob Cook.
Oh, really?
No, not at all.
Oh, by
You
the
made
way,
me
I
laugh
have to
a lot
say
of
this for you, and I was
Sure.
mentioning names, just in case she's watching. Penelope Paradise is also one of my best friends for almost 37, 8 years because of wrestling, and I love her. Just want to make sure
know what?
I get that in there. I can't mention everybody, but I forgot her name when I was going.
Speaking of, and we're going to end on this. I'm waiting for, her and I were talking via email. We were getting a schedule for her to come on the podcast, and then she just stopped replying.
Well, that's women.
Yeah. Just say, hey, there's an email waiting for you that she respond to. And she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. Sometimes people just don't like coming on and being interviewed. But again, guys, thank you both for your time. I really appreciate it. I love having, I feel very fortunate that I was able to connect with not just Bob, but you as well, Robbie, so quick into this new podcast thing that I'm doing. I feel very, very fortunate. You guys have a great night.
You too.